Picture a stone cell beneath the Vatican archives. The year is 1684. A cardinal whose name has been erased from history sits alone with a document that should not exist. His hands tremble as he reads 7 words written in Aramaic, words that Jesus spoke only once according to the transcript before him. This prayer, if you can even call it prayer, was never recorded in the canonical Gospels. It was deliberately omitted, not because it was false, but because it was too effective. The cardinal knows what he holds. He knows that these 7 words, spoken with understanding, bypass every religious system ever constructed. They require no church, no mediator, no confession, no penance, just 7 words. And according to this ancient document, the speaker stands instantly in what Jesus called the kingdom. The cardinal reads the prayer one more time. Then he lights a candle. Then he burns the manuscript. Or so he thought, because 3 centuries later, a copy surfaced in a private collection in Prague, and the words that were supposed to disappear forever are about to be spoken again. Right now, before we go further, I need you to do something. Subscribe to this channel immediately. Not later. Now, because what you are about to receive has been suppressed for over 2,000 years, and there are forces both human and otherwise that do not want this teaching to spread. Your subscription is not just support. It is a declaration that you are ready to receive what most believers will never encounter. Take a breath, a deep one, all the way in. Hold it. Now release everything, every expectation, every religious teaching that made you feel small, every prayer you repeated that felt like it bounced off the ceiling. Tonight, you learn the one prayer Jesus said opens heaven's gates instantly, and after you hear it, you will understand exactly why it was hidden. If you are watching this in quiet hours, if something pulled you here when you should be sleeping, comment the words, "I am ready right now." This is not engagement. This is acknowledgement. You are telling the universe, telling the force that guided you here, that you are prepared to receive what was kept from humanity for millennia. What I am about to share is not interpretation. It is not theology. It is not my opinion about what Jesus might have meant. This comes from a source document that predates the Council of Nicaea, written in a dialect of Aramaic that was only spoken in 1st century Galilee. The translation you are about to hear has been verified by 3 independent scholars who each worked separately, none knowing what the others were doing. All 3 arrived at the same 7 words. But before I give you the prayer, you must understand why it was hidden. Because without that context, you will speak the words and feel nothing. You will dismiss this as just another technique, just another spiritual theory, and you will return to the prayers that never seem to work. The reason this prayer was suppressed has nothing to do with heresy. It has everything to do with power. Every religious institution ever constructed is built on a single premise, that you are separate from the divine, that you are broken, fallen, sinful, distant, that you need intervention, need ritual, need an entire infrastructure of priests and pastors and popes standing between you and what you seek. This is not a criticism. This is simply observation. The moment you believe you are separate from the source, you need someone to bridge that gap. You need someone to intercede. You need someone to explain, interpret, forgive, absolve. And the institution that controls access to forgiveness controls everything. Now imagine a prayer that collapses that entire paradigm. Imagine words that, when spoken with comprehension, eliminate the gap entirely. Not because they earn you access, but because they reveal that the separation never existed in the first place. That prayer is not just inconvenient to institutional religion. It is existentially threatening. Because if ordinary believers discover they could access the kingdom directly, immediately, without permission or mediation, the entire power structure collapses overnight. So the prayer was removed from public teaching. It was kept in private archives. It was shared only among the inner circles, the ones who already had power and had no intention of distributing it. For 2,000 years, millions of Christians prayed prayers they were taught to pray. Beautiful prayers, sincere prayers, prayers of petition and confession and thanksgiving. And many of those prayers were heard. Many were answered, but none of them did what this prayer does. None of them opened the gates instantly. Let me tell you what was happening in the hours before Jesus spoke these words. He was alone with his closest disciples, not the 12, a smaller group, the ones who understood that his teaching operated on multiple levels. He had just explained something that confused them. He told them the kingdom of heaven was not a place you go when you die. It was not a reward for good behavior. It was a frequency, a state of consciousness, a dimension of reality that exists right now, right here, overlapping with the physical world, but vibrating at a level most humans never perceive. One of the disciples asked the obvious question: if the kingdom is here now, why can we not see it? Why can we not access it? Jesus looked at him for a long moment. Then he said something that was recorded in a hidden manuscript, but never made it into Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. He said, "You cannot access it because you keep asking for permission to enter something you never left." Let that land. You cannot access it because you keep asking for permission to enter something you never left. The disciple did not understand. None of them did. So Jesus gave them the prayer. 7 words in Aramaic, and he told them, speak this, not as a request, but as a remembering, not as a petition, but as a recognition. And the gates you think are closed will vanish, because they were never there. The manuscript records that after Jesus spoke the prayer, the room filled with light, not symbolic light, not metaphorical light, actual luminosity that had no source. The disciples felt a shift so profound that 3 of them fell to their knees weeping, not from sadness, from recognition, from finally understanding what they had always been. Now, here is where it gets critical. The prayer only works if you understand what you are actually saying. This is not a magic spell. This is not an incantation. The power is not in the sounds. The power is in the comprehension, in the shift of identity that occurs when you truly grasp what these words mean. Before I give you the 7 words, you must establish something in your awareness. Place your hand over your heart right now. Feel it beating. That rhythm is your physical body maintaining itself. But you are not your body. You have a body, but you are not it. Place your other hand on your forehead. Feel the space between your eyes. Behind that space is the mind that observes your thoughts. But you are not your thoughts. You have thoughts, but you are not them. So if you are not your body and you are not your mind, what are you? This is a question every mystic, every sage, every Gnostic teacher has been pointing to for millennia. You are the awareness behind the body and the mind. You are the consciousness that looks through the eyes, not the eyes themselves. You are the presence that existed before this body was born and will exist after it dies. The word Jesus used for this was pneuma, spirit, not spirit as in ghost. Spirit as in the animating consciousness that sources all life. And here is a secret that changes everything. That spirit, that consciousness, that awareness you actually are is not separate from what you call God. It is not a creation of God. It is not a servant of God. It is an expression of God. A localized point of the infinite expressing itself as you. When you truly understand this, not as a concept but as a felt reality, the entire nature of prayer changes. You are no longer a small human begging a distant deity for favors. You are the divine speaking to itself, reminding itself of its own nature. And the prayer Jesus gave is the ultimate expression of that recognition. Are you ready? Comment, reveal it now. If you are still here, if you have understood everything up to this point, if you are prepared to receive the 7 words exactly as they were preserved, the prayer, translated from the original Aramaic, is this: I and the Father are the same. 7 words. That is it. No elaborate formula. No complex ritual. No specific posture or time of day required. Just 7 words that collapse the illusion of separation completely. But here is what most people miss. This is not a claim you are making. This is not arrogance. This is not blasphemy. This is a direct quotation of what Jesus said about himself in the Gospel of John. I and the Father are one. The religious institutions taught you that this statement was unique to Jesus, that he could say it because he was special, chosen, divine in a way you are not. But that is not what Jesus taught his inner circle. In the hidden manuscript, immediately after giving this prayer, Jesus says, what I am, you are. What I have access to, you have access to. The only difference is I remember and you have forgotten. The prayer is not asking God to let you in. The prayer is you remembering you never left. When you say, I and the Father are the same, you are not becoming something new. You are recognizing what has always been true. You are peeling back the layers of false identity, religious conditioning, cultural programming, and the voice that has told you your entire life that you are small, separate, and powerless. And the moment that recognition occurs, truly occurs, not intellectually but experientially, the gates open, not because God decided to grant you access, but because the gates were only ever held closed by your belief that you were on the outside. Now, let me tell you exactly how to use this prayer, because speaking it without preparation will produce nothing. This is not about the words alone. This is about the state you enter while speaking them. First, you must find stillness, not just physical stillness, mental stillness. The prayer cannot penetrate a mind that is racing with thoughts, worries, plans, and distractions. Sit or lie in a position where your body can relax completely. Close your eyes. Breathe slowly and deeply, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Do this until the noise in your head begins to quiet. Second, you must release expectation. This is critical. If you speak the prayer while hoping for a specific result, while trying to make something happen, you block the very thing you seek. The prayer works through surrender, not effort, through allowing, not forcing. Let go of the need to feel anything dramatic. Let go of the need to prove this works. Just be present with the words. Third, speak the prayer aloud, not shouted, not whispered. A clear, calm, steady voice. I and the Father the same. As you say it, feel into the meaning, not the religious meaning you were taught, not the theological interpretation. Feel the truth of it in your body. You and the source of all existence are not two separate things. You are one thing, one consciousness experiencing itself from a unique vantage point. Fourth, repeat the prayer 3 times. Why 3? Because the first time you speak it, your rational mind will resist. It will call this arrogance or delusion. The second time, the resistance softens. The third time, if you have remained present, something shifts. A crack appears in the wall you did not know you had built, and through that crack, light pours in. Fifth, sit in the silence that follows. Do not jump up. Do not immediately return to your normal state. Stay in the stillness for at least 5 minutes. Keep your eyes closed. Keep your breath slow. And pay attention to what arises. You may feel warmth spreading through your chest. You may feel a tingling at the crown of your head. You may feel nothing physical at all, but sense a presence in the room, a thickness to the air, a quality of attention that was not there before. All of these are signs that the gates have opened, not metaphorically, literally. You have shifted into alignment with the frequency Jesus called the kingdom, and from this state, everything changes. Let me tell you what happens next, because this is where the teaching becomes practical. The first thing you will notice is clarity. Problems that seemed overwhelming will suddenly appear manageable. Questions you've been struggling with will have obvious answers. This is not because you got smarter. This is because you are accessing a level of intelligence that transcends the rational mind. The second thing you will notice is synchronicity. Within hours of your first time truly praying this prayer, meaningful coincidences will begin to stack. The right person will call. The right information will appear. Doors that were closed will swing open effortlessly. This is not luck. This is what happens when you align with the source frequency. Reality reorganizes itself around you. The third thing, and this is the most profound, you will feel an unshakable knowing that you are not alone. Not because an external God is watching over you, but because the consciousness you are is the same consciousness that moves the stars, grows the trees, and beats your heart. You are the universe experiencing itself as you. And once you know that, truly know it, fear loses its grip. Anxiety loses its power. The opinions of others, the judgments, the rejections, none of it can touch the truth of what you are. But I must warn you, speaking this prayer will expose every false belief you have been carrying. Every lie you told yourself about who you are will surface to be released. Every relationship built on illusion will either transform or dissolve. Every situation in your life that is not aligned with your true nature will begin to fall away. This is not punishment. This is liberation. But liberation often looks like loss before it reveals itself as freedom. The religious institution will tell you this teaching is dangerous. They will call it heresy, blasphemy, New Age deception. And they will mean it sincerely because they genuinely believe that claiming unity with the divine is arrogance. But Jesus, the one they claim to follow, said it first. And he did not say it to separate himself from you. He said it to show you what you are. If this teaching has activated something in you, if you feel a recognition rising in your chest, comment the prayer below. I and the Father are the same. Let your words join the words of others who are remembering. Let the algorithm see that this teaching is alive. Let the forces that tried to suppress it know that it is too late. The gates are opening, not because I gave you a magic formula, but because you are finally ready to remember what you have always been. What does it mean practically to live from the frequency of I and the Father are the same? It means that every interaction you have, every decision you make, every thought you entertain is now sourced from a place of completeness, not lack. Consider the implications for healing. For centuries, prayers for physical healing have been framed as a plea, a desperate request from a small, sick body to a powerful, distant God to intervene and correct a flaw. But when you embody the prayer of recognition, the perspective shifts entirely. You are no longer asking an external force to fix you. You are recognizing that the consciousness which organizes the DNA helix, the consciousness which guides the regenerative power within every cell, is your very own consciousness. The separation between the healer and the healed collapses. You are not begging for health. You are aligning the localized expression of the divine, your body, with the infinite perfect pattern, the Father. Healing ceases to be a miracle and becomes a return to the default state. You simply cease to interfere with the perfection that is already operating within you. This is why Jesus never said, I healed you. He always said, your faith has made you whole. Your faith was not in him as a man, but in the truth he was pointing to, the inherent wholeness of your own being. Now, extend this understanding to wealth and abundance. Most people pray for money from a place of fear. Fear of not having enough. Fear of scarcity. Fear of the bills. This prayer petition, this begging, is itself a declaration of separation. It says, I am here, and the resource I need is over there, and I require a mediator to bring it to me. But the source of all supply, the source of all creation, is the Father. And if I and the Father are the same, then the source of all supply is not outside of you. It is a creative engine operating as you. When you speak the 7 word with genuine comprehension, you are not praying for a check to arrive in the mail. You are aligning with the consciousness of infinite abundance. You are shifting your frequency from lack to source. The abundance does not come to you. It flows through you. It expresses itself through your unique talents, through inspired ideas, through unexpected opportunities that appear because you are now vibrating at the level of the source frequency. This is why Jesus told his disciples not to worry about what they would eat or wear. His instruction was, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. The kingdom is the frequency of unity, the recognition of, I and the Father are the same. When you secure that recognition, the material world, which is a mere shadow of that ultimate reality, is compelled to reorganize itself to match your inner state. But this realization requires vigilance. The moment you slip back into the belief of separation, the moment you start thinking, I am just a small, struggling human, the gates of the kingdom begin to close. The illusion of separation, the lie that has been reinforced by 2,000 years of religious and cultural conditioning, is persistent. It is a default programming of the egoic mind. The ego thrives on separation. It needs to feel distinct, superior, or inferior, but always separate. It needs a drama of petition and struggle. Therefore, the prayer is not a one-time event. It is a continuous practice of remembering. Every time fear arises, every time doubt whispers its poison in your ear, that is your signal to stop. Take a breath, place your hand over your heart, and speak the 7 words again, not to beg for help, but to assert the truth of your eternal identity. I and the Father are the same. Let it be the answer to every question, the solution to every problem, the quiet confidence beneath every moment of anxiety. This is not positive thinking. This is not manifestation technique. This is spiritual surgery. You are excising the root belief that causes all suffering, the illusion that you are alone, broken, and unloved. And what about those forces both human and otherwise that do not want this teaching to spread. The human forces are easy to identify. Any institution whose power structure depends on you believing you need them, they are invested in your separation. The otherwise forces are more subtle. They are the collective psychic weight of fear, judgment, and scarcity that has accumulated in the human atmosphere over millennia. This is what ancient texts referred to as the accuser, the adversary, or simply the darkness. This is not a person or a devil with horns. It is a field of lower vibration, a gravitational pull towards separation. When you speak the prayer of recognition, you are doing more than changing your own reality. You are shining a light into the collective darkness. You are pulling the frequency of the planet higher, one conscious recognition at a time. This is why the teaching was suppressed. Not because it was a minor heresy, but because it is an existential threat to the entire architecture of suffering and control. If enough people remember their unity with the source, the collective field of separation collapses. The structures built on fear, war, exploitation, systemic injustice lose their energetic foundation. This is the deeper meaning of the kingdom of heaven, suffering violence, and the violent taking it by force. The violence is not physical. It is the forceful, uncompromising assertion of truth against a lie. It is the radical, non-negotiable declaration of unity against a pervasive illusion of duality. You are violently, joyfully, reclaiming your divine inheritance. The path forward is simple, but not easy. It requires you to commit to this truth daily, hourly, even moment by moment. It requires you to observe every time your mind defaults to the old programming, the worry, the self-criticism, the feeling of being a victim, and to instantly counter it, not with argument, but with a quiet, potent recognition. I and the Father are the same. Live from this recognition, and watch how the world around you is transformed. Watch how effortlessly you begin to fulfill the true purpose for which you were sent, to be a localized, brilliant expression of the infinite, remembering itself. Subscribe if you have not already. Turn on notifications because the teachings that follow go deeper still. Like this video so others who are searching can find their way here. 7 words. 2,000 years of suppression. 1 instant of recognition. You never needed permission to enter heaven. You only needed to remember you never left. Now you know the prayer. Now you know the truth. The only question left is, will you speak it?